Hey everybody, today we're going to geek out on some hydrangeas. I made it to Nick's Backyard Blooms. Nicholas is here with me.
Hi guys.
He's going to show us his favorites as far as hydrangeas go because he's got lots.
And I can show you ones I don't like that much either too.
That'll be kind of interesting. So I'm curious how much we're going to match up on our ideas here.
I mean, we both have eyes, so I guess we'll agree.
Okay, let's take a look.
Okay.
This looks like a Quickfire.
Yes, this is the Quickfire standard. And believe it or not, it's only less than a year old. I planted it last fall and it has such a great shape already. Now, it does like bloom and color up really quickly. So it kind of looks like it's on its way out, but it's a keeper.
I will say that I like the habit on the Quickfire because it usually stays in a nice ball.
Yes.
The leaves are a little different too. They're a little almost like thicker than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
And they tend to hold up really well too.
Yeah.
And the color can get really nice and dark depending on where you're at.
Yeah,
so.
I really like the shape of it because I have some other standards that are like really wild. And I prefer this tight habit better.
So now, should we jump on over to these here?
Yep.
I'm going to just jump right over your gumfrina and your butterfly bush and your grasses. So these here look like they're nice petite ones right now, but what kind are they?
They're little hottie. I think it's a first editions.
Yep.
I believe. And this one is a year older than these two.
Okay, so we can see the little bit difference in the growth.
And I believe they're supposed to get 5x5.
Yeah, and I think this one mainly gets the name Little Hottie because it has a really compact flower on it.
Yes.
But it gets covered in them. That's its big claim to fame.
If there are pictures of these that are mature, and the picture that I'm thinking of, it's in front of a blue house, and it looks like it's like near the coast somewhere, and it sold me on these because they're so pretty. Now, that's a full-on tree of some sort.
Something extra growing in
this
there.
isn't part of it, you guys. But I really like how the coverage of them.
And the coverage on these is going to be kind of like a Bobo where you get a bouquet, and I think I see some Bobos up here.
I used to have a hedge of boxwoods up here, and they were fine, but I wanted something with color. Now I traded evergreen for deciduous, so there's that. But who wouldn't want this? It looks like it's lifting up the front porch.
Yeah.
They are a little bit weighed down from our recent storm, but I think they look pretty good.
And hopefully as they mature, maybe they'll have a little
sturdier
stems.
base, yeah.
Because usually the Bobo is a good base shape on it. So, it gets kind of that dome of flower. So, but look at the size of some of these panicles you have here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really nice. And this one has the kind of smaller petals, but super compact, like really full.
Yes.
I love this little walkway here, which will take us, hopefully, oh look, some more hydrangeas. Okay, looks like you've started a hydrangea hedge here.
Yes, this is actually the very first hydrangea hedge I ever started. So I believe this probably dates to 2021. These are regular limelights, and I'll be very honest, it's probably my least favorite hydrangea, at least panicle hydrangea, that I have on my property. I don't think that they're pretty, and it's just their leaves, mine are a little bit chlorotic, but even when they're not, they still have a yellow hue to them. And I just don't think, I have other panicles that are bigger. It's an okay shrub.
Well, one thing about them is that they flower really late to me too. And that gets annoying to me. And also sometimes they don't get the color that some of the other ones get.
Yes.
So you're getting actually some blush on here that looks like it's nice and pink.
Yep.
But sometimes they just go right to kind of a mauvey brown color.
Yeah, as opposed to this hedge, which is my favorite hydrangea, period. This is the Quickfire Fab. I like the color of the leaves. I like the shape of the plant. It's very circular. The blooms are from like head to toe. It's just they color up sooner, like they bloom sooner and color up sooner than any other hydrangea that I know of.
I love the flower panicles on these, and these are pretty young for you, aren't they? They're only a couple years old.
Yeah,
right?
maybe 2.
And we're already seeing pretty large panicles on these, but they're going to get even bigger than this.
Yes.
And I do love the color on this. So it's, you know, like they get a really beautiful pink, at least in northern Michigan. A lot of things when I talk about hydrangeas, I'm talking a little bit more Michigan. I remember in one of your videos you were talking about you felt you had a pruning problem.
Oh yeah, right here. So I think it's a combination of pruning and storm. I just think it's something I'm going to have to keep working on. It did have a great shape until the storm, and then the bottom half flattened out. So I just think that once it builds a stronger network of branching, it will hold up better.
Sure. And what I'm seeing here is I notice that your stems here are really more mature. So these are definitely more mature stems.
Yep.
And these are definitely younger stems. So this is an example of how if you let the stems kind of grow a little bit, they will get stronger. Also, this also shows how, like, if I were to just prune all these back and just leave, like, say 2 of them, although these aren't necessarily in the shape that you want, that's how people get that kind of Japanese maple look to them, where you have a bare bottom, but it, you know, kind of looks kind of, you know, woody on the bottom, and then you get the kind of more panicles on top. So I think this is like a good way to show, like, and this will recover, like you'll be able to fix this, no problem. You'll just prune it all back to the, you know, similar size. But it, you know, so I wouldn't say it's truly a pruning problem. It's just these weaker ones.
Yeah. And it's an age problem probably, but in a rain problem, it's an everything problem, but I think it's still pretty. And when you're driving down the street and you see it from far away, you don't see this.
Yeah.
It still looks nice.
Yeah.
I do have another small hedge of the same that's a year older, and they have a way better structure and they keep their shape a lot better. Here's another one that I think is a really good contender, that where it has a good shape, it has good coloring. This is the
Firelight tidbit?
Firelight tidbit, yes. I would say it colors up just as well. It has a really great shape, but it stays a lot smaller.
I love the color that this gets, because it gets that nice maroony red color. You know, it'll just start blushing more and more. And this one does stay a nice size. So Firelight tidbit is another one.
It's way easier to tuck in than some of your bigger ones that are 6 and 8 feet tall.
Yeah. And it looks great. It's doing really well under this tree. So it gets a good amount of light coming from this side, but there's parts of the day when it doesn't.
Yeah, it gets morning and afternoon sun and then evening shade.
And then behind you is another one. Which one is this one?
Oh, that's the moonrock.
So moonrock has kind of that kind of lumpy, bumpy flower, I always call it.
Yeah, and it's very compact. Like, this is like sturdy. Like, there's no openness anywhere, I would say, about this bloom. It's very strong.
And this is one where just the way it's growing, like you have that nice upright habit, you could turn this one into not a tree form, but more upright if you wanted to just trim out all that down there.
And until this recent storm, it literally had such a great vase shape. It was so pretty, but it's just an ongoing yearly thing. They look great until I get a big, huge downpour, and then everything is so heavy and waterlogged, it just falls straight to the ground.
I have one that I really think you should try called the Love-A-Lot Pink. It has really strong stems. I'd be curious to see how it does for you. That's one we got to get you.
I'll try anything.
I see some Incredibles over here.
Yeah, well, it's one. There's an Incredible, and then next to it is the Little Lime.
Okay, and Little Lime is the smaller version of a Limelight. Do you find the same issues with the Little Lime as you do with the Limelight?
Not really. I think the leaves stay a lot greener, and it just seems like a better shrub overall, but it honestly could just be placement too. It's really hard for me. Maybe I shouldn't say that I don't love Limelights, because those 3 are the only ones that I have, and it's only in one spot of my garden. So it could just be me.
But it's right next door to your Quickfire fabs, so I think, you know, that tells you something.
And then these Incredibles are incredible. Like, that is a humongous bloom. And they start out white, and then they turn to this pale green, and they're pretty all times.
There is a new incredible...
The
well,
Stormproof.
Yeah, Stormproof. Incredible Stormproof. I'm curious to see how that one's going to
But
do.
you can see how well this one holds up to the storms.
Yeah, and you know, I think it really has to do, you have it in a really nice sunny location. Mine gets really good sun up until about 1 or 2 o'clock, and they still flop quite a bit. So so it's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah,
you know, this one gets all
like pretty much all day sun, and you have to make sure that if it is getting all day sun, that you have to water it, like give it the water that it needs.
Yeah, and I do find the arborescens like water more than the panicles.
Yep.
Now, shall we pop over here, because you've got a beautiful hydrangea tree.
That is even more so, I think, than the Quickfire standard tree. This is probably my favorite. So this is called a phantom, and last year, so this is what I'm saying about when something gets older, and also about pruning. As it gets older, the stems will strengthen up. Last year I had a storm and it turned into an umbrella, and I cut it back and it like sturdied up a little bit, and it's holding up pretty decently. It does like kind of fall, but it's way better than last year.
So this season, when you trim it back, have you decided how far back you're going to trim these branches?
No.
Well, and that'll come to you when it does. Interesting too, because the phantom, a lot of people maybe might not be familiar with the phantom. Its flower reminds me a little bit of the pufferfish.
Yes.
Because it gets so big.
Look how big this thing is. This is my face. It's huge.
Yeah. And it's one that keeps sending up more blooms, kind of like the pinky winky, where it's like you think it's all done.
It elongates.
And then you notice it gets another puff and another puff and another puff.
Yeah.
So it's a great one for that.
Yeah, and I just love, they have like little pearls. I love how hydrangeas have like little pearls right in the middle. That's what I see, at least.
Let's see. We'll pop around here maybe.
This is another one of my favorites. This is the white wedding. And it, again, has big bloom panicles, and it has a nice shape.
And
now,
I remember you mentioning that you're thinking of replacing some of these macrophylla hydrangeas.
yeah, so I don't remember exactly what they are. Both of these are macrophyllas, though. That one's obviously low on iron, but I have one bloom on that, and it's because we warm up in the late winter. The plants think that they're ready to grow, and then we have a late frost, and it kills the buds because they grow on old wood. So I just don't have great luck growing macrophyllas.
And then over here,
that is the same as the other one over there, but this one has a very weird shape no matter how I prune it. If you look down here, it has it's almost like it wants to grow here, and then it has a wild arm, and I was toying with cutting off that arm completely, but I don't know, maybe next year.
I'll be honest, if you did cut off any of it, it'll come back just fine. So don't be afraid of doing that. But look at the size of that panicle.
It's just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. And the bees like that one too.
Yeah.
And they can get in there to them. Because a lot of the newer ones, it's harder for the bees to get in there. This one's a little bit airier, so that works. I see some more over here.
Yeah. Although I don't remember, to be honest, what that one to the left is.
And there's a couple different kinds it could be. Could it be a firelight, possibly?
I thought it was a smaller one.
Okay, like, it could be, because it's not that big. I don't, it's hard to tell.
I thought it was a firelight tidbit, but it's very different than the one up there, so maybe it's not. And maybe it is just a plain firelight. I just truly don't remember.
And I'm only guessing, like that's just like me playing.
Yeah, and this is a Bobo, and it usually has a much better shape, but this thing got pounded by a storm, and but it still looks fine.
And then we have a couple more over here.
These are the ones that I was saying are these are the Quickfire Fabs, and they are a year older than the hedge that we saw before.
You don't get a better habit than this one right
Yeah,
here.
it has a perfect shape and it's just beautiful. Like just beautiful.
And in case anybody's wondering, this happens with panicles sometimes when they suddenly just decide, I'm going to send up more blooms.
And I love that.
And sometimes it can happen like really late in the season. And so you can get lots of colors on them at one time.
I just, it's my favorite, and I don't think an explanation is needed. It's just so pretty.
And then we'll come around here. This one definitely is doing some bowing action.
Yes, that is it's either vanilla strawberry or strawberry sundae.
Now, usually strawberry sundae is a more compact variety than this vanilla strawberry. So I usually think of the strawberry sundae as a bit rounder, but the bowing is just a matter of, you know, the branches just aren't able to hold up because of the size. But then you have this branch, which is very strong and healthy.
Why can't all the branches just be as strong as that one? And this one is a really cool one. This is a pinky winky, and I love the open structure of the bloom, and it has a great shape, but also because of the open bloom, it's not as heavy, so it stands up in rain and wind better. So it's a very beautiful,
and it gets a good color too. At least in northern Michigan, we notice it. And the panicles can get super long. If it's getting a lot of water, it can really get, the panicles can be enormous.
and this is a Frankenstein of some sort. So I bought this. It is supposed to be a pinky winky, but it also is not a pinky winky.
So more than half of it is something else, or a kind of a mutant variety. You may have just found the newest variety of hydrangea.
And I'm not mad at it. I think it's fine. It's just not what I bought.
Yeah, and Proven Winners, if you'd like to get the license for this, it's available for you.
Yep, I have it. And then this is another one of the same ones over there. You said you think it's
either strawberry sundae or vanilla strawberry.
Yeah.
The flowers are beautiful on those. They always are.
Yeah, I don't mind that it weeps a little bit, as it just makes it a little bit harder to mow around. So if I can just rectify the area around it and make the bed bigger, then it can just kind of do its own thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be the traditional up in the air.
The goal is not perfection.
No. And when you're standing back, it's still very beautiful. This one right here is the pufferfish. And this was in a bed earlier this year that I redid, and I felt too lazy at that time to put it in the ground. So I put it in a pot, and it's doing fine. I mean, it definitely can't stay in here because of the size of the pot, but it's blooming and it's beautiful.
You know, and I found keeping in either grow bags or pots, they actually do well for a couple of years. You can easily winter them over outside, so that's good. The thing that I noticed is usually after like 4 or 5 years is that some varieties, the branches get a little brittle and you'll get a crack down the middle.
Okay.
So that's the only real downfall, but they do fine in pots. Watch out with this pufferfish though, because it does like water later on in the season.
Well, it's one that I have to water every day, but it did have decent sized roots that I had cut when I took it out of the ground, and it was wilted and wimpy for, I would say, a good week, and then it turned around and it's beautiful.
And then over here,
and then back here, this is, so you're not seeing truly what this is looks like. This is the candelabra hydrangea, and I would say it's very similar to the pinky winky, at least the blooms are.
Yeah.
But because of the container that I have it in, it dries out really quickly, so I have to pretty much constantly give it water, and it makes it iron deficient, and so it's not the plant's fault, it's Nick's fault.
Well, and one thing I will point out, if your panicle hydrangeas are doing this type of thing where the leaves turn really yellow and then they fall off, that's usually a watering issue. So anytime you see that, I mean, it could be other things, but most commonly, if you're losing leaves, it's just trying to survive. And so it drops a lot of its leaves. The flowers will turn brown, but it will survive. That's the good thing about them. So they have some level of tolerance. I
also don't know if this is anyone else's experience, and I don't think I've said this before, but has anyone else experienced on panicle hydrangeas when they start to bloom, or they start to like form their blooms, I have usually a lot of leaves that turn yellow and then they drop off and then the blooms start to happen. It's very weird and it happens every year. So it might be a water thing, but I feel like I feel like for me every year, I used to get scared that they would turn yellow, but then I knew that the blooms were following after and then it rights itself and it's fine.
As long as it keeps doing its thing, that's kind of the way it goes.
And these will come out this year. They have been in containers for far too long.
And you said that you don't have this lined, so that cocoa liner is probably releasing water.
Yeah, I could water these 2 times a day and they still would want more water.
Yeah. Well, they're doing pretty good, all things considered. So
yeah.
Imagine the size of the panicles you'd have if they could get more
and
water.
I actually think that these get quite large.
Candelabras do, yeah.
So, and I want them to do that. And I'm going to stop torturing them in these pots and do something new from now on.
So did we totally geek out?
I did. I mean, I always geek out on hydrangeas, which is why I have 60 plus in my garden.
They're beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other ones that you're going to add as time and where these end up going.
Yeah.
I'll be back to visit because I will want to see how this garden progresses because you've come a long way in gardening. How long have you been really gardening this area?
Probably 2021 I started, but I really have hit it hard in the last year.
4 years and you've got all this. That's impressive.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always making new beds and in a couple years I'll probably have barely any grass, which is fine.
That'll be good. Well, thanks for letting me kind of play with the hydrangeas.
Thanks for coming out. Like, this has been exciting. It's so fun to be able to talk to a fellow gardener about plants, but it's a really weird world where you get to talk to a fellow YouTube gardener. It was a gift.
My favorite is like I was holding the camera and we both right away noticed like, oh, there's a trash can in the background. Oh, there's this. It's funny how your YouTube brains work a little differently than normal people.
We see everything.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and go and leave a comment. Let us know which ones are your favorite, and is there a variety of hydrangea that, especially panicle, that Nicholaus should try in his yard?
Yes, please.
You can see more of Nicholaus's garden over at Nick's Backyard Blooms, and he also has a lot of photos over on Instagram, so check those out. And if you go over there right now, he just posted a video where he and I plant up some containers and we talk about gardening. We had a nice little conversation. It was a very nice time, so I encourage you to go over there, check it out. Make sure to give both him and I a follow, a like, a subscribe, all that good stuff, because we genuinely appreciate it. And I will see you guys all very, very soon.